Hello, everybody. It's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with the guys from the Numbskulls, all the way from Scotland. How are you guys?
We're doing great, Ryan. How you doing?
Good. Good. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've been listening to you all day.
Oh, yeah, you're still okay.
Yeah. So, why don't we start by introducing yourselves and what instruments you play?
Yeah, okay. Well, I go.
Hello,
You
I'm
go.
Dave. I play double bass.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, I'm Scotty, and I play guitar and sing a little bit.
Cool. And
Awesome.
I'm Craig, and I'm currently the drummer.
Awesome.
Currently the drummer.
Currently, yeah.
So you guys have been doing this a long time.
Yeah, and different guys as we're actually trying to think back. Dave and I went to school together, so we've been friends since 11, something like that, about 11 years old, and we're now more than 11 years old. So yeah, it's been. I guess we've been doing the Numbskulls since about 86, 87, something like that.
Yeah.
Mucking around with different guises and different kind of, psycho punky sort of ideas. And then, the Numbskulls, as they kind of had a couple of different incarnations, but I guess around about 87, you could probably say we were probably starting to record, be a band, really. Yeah.
Awesome. I really like the punk element in rockabilly.
Yeah.
Or psychobilly, as it may be called.
Yeah.
Where did you guys get your influence in the mid 80s? There wasn't a lot going on except for maybe the Reverend Horton Heat.
Not even him, to be fair. So I guess we were
Not much going on in the States, maybe.
Yeah.
But over in the UK, there was plenty going on around about that time.
So, I guess the classic bands like the Meteors, King Kurt, the Cramps, Guana Bats, things like that. So we were,
And also the rockabilly kind of stuff, like Stray Cats.
Some of the British stuff like the Jets and things. So
Yeah.
I guess in Aberdeen's a kind of it's a town, but it feels like a village sometimes. And there wasn't much of an alternative scene for kids. So I guess we were listening to anything that was alternative, from sort of punk to rockabilly to psychobilly to metal to goth, anything that was just alternative. We kind of just give it a go, really.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a great mix of aggressive music. You want to talk about where you get your energy and what's your focus when you're writing?
Yeah, cool. I guess the energy, I think those kind of bands, the original bands that we were listening to them, but being sort of young 17, 18-year-old kids, we just wanted to do some of the stuff that they did, but be a bit almost faster, and, maybe just a bit crazier. So I guess, you had stuff like Crewmen and Klingons and some of the next generation of sort of psychobilly bands that we would have listened to and thought, we'll have a bit of that. So definitely took some of the. I mean, Dave likes a lot of kind of much heavier stuff as well. His brother was a big punk, so he was listening to a lot of his records. Exploited, things like that. So I think we just kind of fused everything that filled our lug holes, as to say, and we just off we went. And then in terms of writing, I think we were just big fans of, well, I'll call it 80s horror now, but it was just the horror of the day. But all the slasher movies and Freddy Krueger and all that kind of stuff, it was just brilliant fun for kids. It was just what we were into. So we took those kind of, and if you listen to Numbskull stuff, they're all lots of little stories. A story about, like zombies, a story about, a vampire, things like that. So just little stories that kind of made us laugh, and they're quite tongue in cheek, to be honest, as well.
That's awesome. I was a big slasher movie fan when I was a kid. I would, I'd wake up in the middle of the night when my parents were sleeping, and I'd go out and watch Friday the 13th or something, which I'm sure a lot of kids did.
Definitely. Anything that was kind of, anything it was Evil Dead, things like that. Just the stuff that our parents would have kind of didn't want us to watch. We were Idle Hands, yeah, that was a classic one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, all of those kind of mostly American slasher movies really we were right into. And like I say, Aberdeen didn't have a massive alternative music scene, so all the elements and all the different styles tended to go to the same 2 or 3 different places, clubs. So we just went to the place that was alternative, not mainstream chart music. And that's why we probably, we might have been listening to The Mission, or it might have been, some rockabilly, or it might have been some psychedelic or anything. It was just stuff. And we just kind of took it in because it was different and it wasn't normal, the mainstream, and we didn't want to be the normal, really, didn't we? Yeah. It was just, Craig wasn't even born then because he's a lot younger than us. So, you probably weren't. When were you born?
91.
91. So he wasn't actually born.
The year the album came out?
Yeah. So he was born when the first album came out. Yeah, just the same year. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
That was the year I graduated high school.
There you go. Then you're more of our kind of vintage, let's say.
Yeah. So, where do you get your inspiration for your guitar playing? Who would you say made you pick up the guitar?
Oh, I would probably go back to stuff like Eddie Cochran, and because I was a big rockabilly fan as a kid. So in the UK, if you wanted to be anything kind of different, it tended to be like ska and things like Madness and everything at my age at that time. And then there was all the kind of rockabilly bands like Stray Cats, and all the classic stuff like Elvis and Gene Vincent and Eddie Cochran. I was a massive Eddie Cochran fan. Used to, get that stuff on audio cassette, and I just kind of taught myself that type of thing. So I think that's probably what made me want to sort of be a guitarist. And then I think writing songs was just something that I liked doing anyway. I always had ideas for stuff. I played drums before a little bit, not very well. And I found it playing drums, I found it harder to write songs because I couldn't put a tune to them, just a beat. So that kind of influenced us. And then, we were at school on a Friday afternoon, the last sort of period of the day. It used to be called it was called Call of Me, and we used to get to go and choose a subject that you just go and hang out and do things. So people did sport, people did other things. We went to the music department, got all the musical instruments out with all the other kind of reprobates, and we just made music. We made these kind of little, incarnations of different kind of bands and tried different instruments, made a noise, tried playing versions of, a Meteor song or something like that. And we just, that was us pulling together. So yeah, my style's like that. I'm also a massive fan of things like the Cults. I'm a big fan of the Cults. So I do like sort of some kind of classic rock stuff as well. And I think my style just kind of merges them in. I've always enjoyed playing sometimes 2 guitars, but I quite like having the freedom of just one guitar, so I can kind of fill the room, but make mistakes, but also jam it out a wee bit without having to be bang on with the other person. So it's a looser feel you can do. And I guess and with Dave and that on bass, we can kind of, because we've been playing together for such a long time, we can kind of lock in quite well when we're at it. So it's quite good.
So there's a lot more freedom in a 3-piece, I would say.
I think there is, I
would say.
I think so. But the classic Numbskulls lineup, was the 4 of us with the 2 guitars, and with Steve, who I don't think he plays anymore now. I haven't seen him for a long time.
No.
And then Strungy, who's in Klingons, etc. as well. That was the kind of classic lineup for the Psychophobia album, and that was just so much energy. It was unbelievable. And it's quite hard because we did that record. I left, a year or two after, a year after that, and the guys did another album, which is great. And then we just stopped. The band's kind of stopped after that, didn't it?
Stopped, and then sort of progressed. Strongy left, and then sort of progressed into Karloff, Strongy's brother Ash, who owns Creepsville 666, the clothing company. He sang for Karloff, so it was a sort of natural progression from Numbskulls. Tony left, Strongy left, and Ash came in and sort of did kind of different horror punk kind of stuff.
Yeah. and I was off doing about 50 different bands trying to make it, and just different genres. I'm not going to play with my brother and different people, so it just kind of moved in sort of different directions for a bit, and then we kind of came back. And Dave and I never really lost touch particularly, did we? Maybe a lot for a couple of years.
Or something. Yeah.
But we always spoke, and then we did a band called King Voodoo, which was much more like neo rockabilly, and we loved doing that because Dave was the original drummer in Numbskulls, and he's moved to double bass. So that was the first time we'd kind of done that kind of band together. And then just a few years ago, we decided, like, it felt for me, because I left Numbskulls without probably a lot quicker than I should have. But I think I felt like I had unfinished business. Really had lots of ideas for that. I never, lost the love of that music. So I just had some ideas and thought maybe we should try to do this again. So just having the two of us, as kind of original members, everybody's don't stay local, so it would have been very difficult to get everybody back together anyway. So it was cool just to have this kind of new version of it and do the new album. It was great fun, and it was so easy to do. And I had a couple of guys who were in a band called Corpse that we've known for a long time, and they just breathed new life into it as well and gave us the energy and power, to make it, still keep it heavy, but still have a tune, have some tunes in there, have hooks, and just, it sort of brought us back. The decades rolled off when you're playing it, because it's not like you can play this stuff half-assed. You've got to play it like full on, because it's heavy, it's frantic. There's no room to slow down. You've just got to go for it. So yeah, it was it's brilliant. It's been a great journey, and that big gap in the middle, yeah, we could have done some great stuff in there, but it's lovely to be back and doing it when we're slightly older.
Excellent. One thing I always like to ask, I've always wanted to ask the rockabilly bands I interviewed, and I never got a chance to, is the technique for playing double bass. It's very distinct. You have the slapping and the ticking. Describe to me how you get it to do that.
just plucking on the string. It's the clicking you hear is the string slapping against the fingerboard. So you pluck it and it goes ting ting. So that's basically it. It's the same as whatever Lee Rocker, Stray Cats. It's not new. Stray Cats have had their double bass, slap bass as we call it over here sometimes. For ever since Bill Haley and Comets, you'll hear the slap bass or some jazz stuff, or if you listen carefully, you'll hear the guys slapping the bass. So it's really nothing new, but it's just the psychobilly styles, the constant slapping really fast.
Kind of hard.
It's totally just non-stop going 100 miles an hour, or you can just sort of double slap it and take it easy kind of thing. But yeah, the Numbskulls have obviously had Strangy, one of the best players on the scene, I would have thought.
Definitely.
So he was a hard act to follow, just totally going for it 100 miles an hour. So he was a tough pair of shoes to fill.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the difference? What is the difference between playing a regular bass and like a double bass, but the aspect that there's no frets? Like, how do you mentally keep in mind where your hand needs to be?
You just kind of remember where your fingers go. With just years of playing, some guys put like little dots. I've got like little markers on the side just to refresh your memory. You kind of need to know where you're going. If you're recording stuff, you can get away with playing a few odd notes here and there live, but if you're recording, you need to be on your game. So yeah, plus just memory. You remember where your fingers go. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sliding into the notes.
Yeah, you can. Exactly. It doesn't take much if you hear yourself doing a bum note to slide onto the right note. So yeah, there's that aspect of it as well.
Cool.
Plus, I've played a normal bass in the past, so you kind of know the way the frets are laid out and stuff. So it's
you've played normal bass and guitar and things before, so you know your way around it.
Yeah.
So as far as drums go, you were born in 91, so your influences came a little bit later. Talk about who you model your playing after.
Well, it's kind of tricky because actually probably the influences are exactly the same because my dad listened to every single band as well. Just, you know,
Makes us feel really old, doesn't it?
well, you know, it's East Kilbride and like Dunfermline scene, so it was like the Skids, Cramps, and everyone like that. So it's like I think my first CD was Thin Lizzy Live, and I got told if I could learn cowboy song solo, I get a guitar. So I learned that. But in terms of drums, I used to live in Houston, and it just kind of I was into a lot of like metalcore bands, and just kind of went from there. So it was a lot heavier, so like August Burns Red and things like that.
Yeah.
But then sitting down here, it's like a completely different like pattern and everything that you need to learn. And whilst doing a lot of metal and playing really fast, it's definitely different, and you definitely notice when you fuck up because the whole song then you're behind for the rest of it. So it's really like high energy, and I think like obviously a lot of like metalcore bands and stuff, whilst it might sound fast, you can actually quite pace yourself. So it's usually thank God the song's over because
You got your Monster Energy drink,
always got a Monster next to me just in case.
So the last record I heard of you guys came out in 2017, and you're obviously still a group. You're all together. It looks like you guys get to see each other a little bit more often now. Are you practicing? Are you practicing new tunes? Are you planning to play out?
Yeah, absolutely. So well, like obviously everybody's been living through this bloody nightmare, you know. So we've just, you know, it's opened up here just in the last sort of month or so to be able to rehearse properly. And you know, we couldn't really rehearse at home and stuff for space and noise and kids and all that. So yeah, we've been rehearsing through lockdown. We're writing some, you know, sharing ideas, just using GarageBand, recording things, you know, sending it across to each other and trying different things out. So we've got about half an album's worth and you know, that are good songs that'll be ready to go. And I don't think it'll take us that long to get a few more.
No.
And then I think would love to get another record done in the next year or so, really. You know, we want to get something else out. The last, you know, the one that you heard in 2017 is called Back Fae the Deed, which obviously those are some Scottish words there, like Fae and Deed, which is just, you know, from and dead. And that you know, that was the comeback record. And the whole album, there's a lot of like Scottish kind of horror legends and things in there. So we just did a heap of research basically on different kind of creatures and mythology, and we're reading lots of stuff. Aberdeen, where we are, there was a dig in one of the local kind of graveyards, and there was tons and tons of bones found, and it was all witches. They believe it was witches because there was witch trials and things here as well. So so that's why I blame it on the witches, you know, because I was thinking about that kind of idea in Aberdeen where you stay, and just how crazy it must have been. Anybody could accuse anyone of being a witch, and that was it, you know. So that's why we wrote that song. So that was all that kind of stuff. And we think, you know, the next record will kind of move on from that and just do a bunch of stuff. It might not all be Scottish folklore all the time, so I'll probably run out of stuff to write about. But yeah, there'll be some crazy songs in there. And we're always kind of stretching ourselves. It's always going to be heavy. It's always going to be fast, but you know, some good tunes in there as well. Hopefully, a few earworms for people. So definitely in the next year, we want another record out. And we should be able to do that, hopefully. In terms of gigs, don't know how much we'll play this year. I think this year might be more about recording, but next year we've got some stuff booked with, we're playing in Glasgow with Necromantics, and we are playing some sort of European mini tour. We've got a gig in the Netherlands, and there'll be some more coming around, probably Germany, Belgium, France type of thing, with the guys from Mullet Monster Mafia, the Brazilian guys. So we're kind of hooking up with them as well. So hopefully there'll be some shows next year. Well, there will be some shows next year. Please be some shows next year, and we'll get back in the saddle as they say. So, but we're not a full-time band. We've got jobs, so you need to use your annual leave, and you need to get the time to go away. We're in the north of Scotland, so there's not much of a scene, so we have to go into England, down south really, to get the sort of bigger gigs and supports and festivals and these kind of things, or into Europe as well. And the States would be a dream, maybe one day. That's a place we've never played, the likes of Japan and things. And so we know there's people in these countries that like us. Whether there'll be enough, for us to come across, you never know. But we'll always keep that as an ambition anyway. It's good to have targets.
Japan would be sick, especially if the guy that did the Psychophobia ska cover.
Oh yeah. What were they called again? There was that, yeah.
Shig and the Trunk Boys.
Shig and the Trunk Boys, yeah. There's a great band from Japan, and they covered Psychophobia from the first album and sent us across some merch and stuff, and it was bloody brilliant. It was just amazing musicians. So we've had a couple of cover versions done, which is quite good. Cenobites from Netherlands, they did Step Inside as well. So I think that's kind of cool when other bands play our songs and you think, well, that's a bit of a for a little band for
must have been something right back in the day.
Yeah, there must be something that's it's grabbed folks' attention. So it's lovely. It's just a nice compliment, and it's makes you feel kind of good about yourself. So it's pretty good.
Definitely. I really liked how you said you researched Scottish folklore and the mythology. What are some of the stories that you found really interesting that you included on the album?
Yeah, cool. Well, Sawney Bean. So the Bean family were cannibals back in the 1300s, and they were in the round about the middle of Scotland, and so the song Sawney Bean, Tale of Sawney Bean, that's all about that. And they were the Bean family, and they basically lived in a cave, and they would basically go and kill whoever they could, people that were traveling through the woods, etc. They would just bump people off and they would eat them. And by the time, so this is what they did, and they were kind of crazy, I suppose it's a crazy kind of Ed Gein kind of thing going on, but they were cannibals, and but it was children and everything. There was a lot of them, and they eventually got caught. They tried to grab a woman on horseback, and I think somebody got help, and there was a big fight, and I would say police. There wouldn't have been police then, but whatever law there was back in those days, they got involved, and they were taken to Edinburgh, which obviously capital city of Scotland, and they were tried. They were found guilty, tried, and they were all killed. Now I'm trying to think how they were all killed. Actually, some of them I think were possibly stoned. I think they were kind of tied to posts and stuff.
Lovely.
So yeah, that kind of things. So that was one. The one about the witches, for Blame It on the Witches, obviously that was kind of cool, finding all of those stories about Aberdeen, and there was kind of witch trials, etc. Ben Nye, which is another one, and it's kind of spelled kind of odd, but that one was quite cool as well. So that's kind of the harbinger of death. So that one is about a washerwoman, and if you see her, she's that's why it says washerwoman on the loch shore. So on the shore of the loch, which is a lake, for you guys, and and this woman will kind of foretell your death, etc. And again, it's a bit like you hear all these stories, but you ask her 3 questions, and you get a question back and stuff, and the wrong answer, you're gonna come to a sticky end. So there was these kind of cool things, wasn't there? It was all that kind of tales. And I mean, Scotland's an ancient country as well, so there's so many spooky stories. And if you think of back in those old days, under candlelight and things, and people must have, no TV, no internet, people must have been winding each other up with these stories and trying, all this kind of stuff. So I just think it's cool. It's just kind of mystical, and we're a land of, lochs and castles and mountains and mist and lots of rain. And fog,
and midges.
And midges. Yeah. So that's that one as well. So yeah, that's why there's a song called Midges, because little insects that bite you to death when you're sitting out on a sunny evening. So yeah, it's just kind of funny tales. So we've got a few of those. Got a few. My kids helped as well. They were reading lots of monster books and things when we were looking at that.
That's awesome. What a great idea. It's not just slapping lyrics together. It's you're actually researching something, and then that shows that you put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, man. I think it's kind of themes in it. I think I'm a kind of neat freak, so I like everything to be kind of in order. So even when I was writing the stuff on psychophobia and stuff, there were always neat little stories that had a start and a middle and an end. I didn't want it just to be like words that meant nothing. I wanted people to listen to it and think it's about that. It's about a killer. It's about a vampire. It's about Harry Erdu, yeah. So yeah, there's an inspiration for you. So back in the day when we first had ZX Spectrum computer, the little 48K computers used to get the computer games that were on tape, and there was a character in Daley Thompson.
Daley Thompson's the decathlon.
He was an Olympian, for a British Olympian, who won the decathlon. He had this game, and there was a character in there called Harry Erdu, and that's why there's the song Harry Erdu. So that was kind of random. Then we took that song, and so we took that character that was in a computer game. So it was a guy with crazy hair. And we took that character and kind of made him real, and then thought about what he would wear, what his shoes would be like. Brown shoes are brown, this kind. And it was just, we just wrote these kind of silly things. So it's there was a bit of imagination in there.
I honestly had to Google that one at the beginning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you find it for you?
Yeah, I did, but it was one of those.
See, they go, classic.
Right.
If you know, you know.
Who have I missed out on?
Yeah, and then obviously Freddy Krueger and things like that. Plenty of stuff about him and the like on the first album as well. So yeah, it's cool. I just think it kind of works, and it's funny because we weren't listening to bands like Misfits or any of the horror stuff back when. Heard of them. Didn't really know who they were. So it was just our kind of love of psychobilly bands and slasher movies and things like that just made us kind of want to have a band that was that didn't sing about love and politics and all that kind of stuff. It was just singing about kind of crazy things. So from computer games to horror.
Awesome. So coming up, where can people get a hold of you if they want to book you? If they want to get your CDs or vinyl, do you have CDs or vinyl, or where can they find your music?
We've got some bits and pieces. We've got some bits and pieces left. So pretty much everything. The hub is on really Facebook. So Numbskulls SEO for Scotland on Facebook. You'll find us really easily. So yeah, we've got merch available in our Facebook shop. So we've got T-shirts and we've got some CDs and bits and pieces there you can get. I think vinyl's pretty hard to come by now. I think with the first record, it sold out I think a long time ago. So that comes. I think I've got 2 copies. I think that's it, and I'll keep them forever.
Depths of eBay.
Yeah, you can see them on eBay every now and again. But yeah, so if you want to get in contact with us and for booking the band, just message us via Facebook. That's the best way to do it. We've got an Instagram page as well. Again, you can find us there. He's the guy who does all the modern things, and gives us some social media presence that we don't normally have.
Just post pointless crap.
Pointless crap, yeah.
Pointless crap.
And you can obviously, all the music's available on iTunes and Spotify and things like that as well. So you can get it digitally as well if you just want to listen to it and like us that way. So it's all good, the more people that listen to us, the better. And hopefully sell a shirt or two and represent the band wherever we can. So
totally.
There's one in the post to you, Ryan. So
thank you.
A shirt coming across.
I'm definitely going to sport it.
Definitely, man. Definitely, yeah.
So, is there anything left that you might want to talk about that we haven't touched on that you want to say?
I don't know. It's just, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just, like I say, the more people listen to our music, the better. I think we've got. We're going to do some more stuff coming up. We'd love to come across the States if people are putting festivals on, etc. I'd love to be involved if we could. So one of these days we'll come across and we'll take the jockabilly sounds across the water. So yeah, just check us out. Listen to our music. get in touch with us if comment on our stuff, etc. online, and just hope everybody's well. That's listening to the podcast. Hope everybody's staying safe, and hopefully see you guys soon in the not too distant future.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time.
No worries,
I really enjoyed our talk, and I love the topics that you chose for your lyrics, and what you write about is I'm a huge horror fan, so I love folklore and the creepy stories. It really makes me feel like I'm young again.
Absolutely, definitely. I don't think you ever want to grow up, so I'm the same as you. I'm the same as you. I watched a great movie last night called Brightburn. You've probably seen it.
I want to see it.
Oh, it's great, man. I watched that last night. That's a cracking film now. A mutual friend of mine that's in the Chandeliers with us, who used to stay out in LA. It's one of his friends that produced that movie. And he told me it was going to be really good. And for some reason, I watched it last night. Brilliant. Really worth a watch. So there you go. Recommendation.
Now I'm definitely going to go watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
There was a really good one called The Vatican Tapes. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. Vatican Tapes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's about demonic possession, but it really takes it a step further. I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
But
nice. Okay, no, we'll check that one out as well, and I'll let you know how I enjoyed it, man.
Awesome. I'm going to check out Brightburn.
Yeah, cool. Do it.
Awesome.
Do it. Definitely.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Ryan. Good to see you.